Good afternoon, Eileen. How are you?
I'm doing good, Siobhan. How are you? It's lovely to see you in this new year in these, what did they call it, unprecedented times. Yes.
Yeah. And as we go back into lockdown again and as schools close again, it's good to touch base and talk about some of what we're observing out there or in here,
Yeah.
aware of out there in the community.
Yeah. And Siobhan, the other day, there was a few kids playing outside and they were messing up. I went for a walk and I was up the road and they were kind of, I'd say, 8, 9, 10, around that age group. And they were kind of playing tag or something. And one kid said to the other, "COVID spreader." And I kind of went, oh gosh, it
Mm.
just seemed
Mm,
just harsh.
yeah.
And I'm just wondering, for you in the school, have you noticed anything like that with the kids?
Well, I suppose because we're a small rural school, and our numbers are smaller, it's there's less chance of hearing that. That's not to say it doesn't go on or it
Yeah,
hasn't gone on
yeah,
and we haven't heard it. But I have heard plenty of stories like that, and it's really got me thinking about those children who say that and what's behind it and how they must be feeling.
yeah.
But
And like, yeah, because I think it's a very, like, if you think of us, we've had loads of time in our lives to experience different things. For kids in their short little lives, this is all what they know is just taken away from them. You
mm,
know, like I certainly believe a lot of kids are grieving. They're grieving their normality. Grief doesn't always have to be like a bereavement, a loss of a death. It's a loss for them. They have a huge loss. The loss of their play dates, loss of playing with their friends, loss of their school friends. For kids who didn't even, well, eventually a lot of them made the first communion.
mm,
But the letdown. I remember even watching two kids here on the road and they say, "We think we have communion next week," and then, "Oh, it's not for another few weeks." And then the summer holidays. Like, that was letdown after letdown. Like, that was really, really hard for those kids. And I think children in general, I think they're confused. They're
I
afraid, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, I think
Sorry, go on, Siobhan.
no, you've hit the nail on the head, Eileen, because that's something I would have seen over the last while. And I think, we can't be fooled by thinking that just because schools were open, that we were always meeting the children's needs, because certain needs have really changed. And,
Yeah,
as teachers, we'd all know that um, when it comes to certain behaviors, that we would be mindful of always remembering the child behind the behavior and
absolutely.
labeling the behavior rather than the child, and just trying to think of what feeling and what emotion is behind it. But as well, I'm just thinking that because the emotions being experienced now and the feelings are, as you say, new
Mm,
for most children.
mm.
But some children will have experienced grief before, but not many necessarily, and they mightn't be aware that they're allowed or even
The
allowed.
feelings, yeah, are okay. And
Yeah, yeah,
it's something if I work with parents, as you know, I'm a psychotherapist. If I work with, I always say to them, and I even say to my friends, talk to your kids about your feelings, obviously age appropriately. But if you're sad, tell your child you're sad. Yes, mommy's sad, mommy's something happened today and mommy's a bit upset, or you know daddy's angry because whatever. Because the thing is, I think certainly in my generation, you're 2 years behind me, you think you're a lot more. In that generation, like, we were validated for being happy, for being cheerful, for being compliant, for whatever. But the other feelings and emotions were always hidden. You don't be angry, you don't shout out, you don't be sad. You have to, you're rewarded for being cheerful and happy. But I think we have to let children know that these other feelings and emotions are okay. And children learn by what they see, not by what we tell them to do.
mm,
So, like, their brains are like little sponges, and they soak it all up.
Yeah, I think there's definitely that element of acknowledging their feelings and allowing them to feel and whatever way they feel. And I think you had said to me at one stage, Eileen, about not rushing in there to fix it,
Yeah,
to sit with them in the
yeah,
feeling that they have and just to be there. Because I think when we try and fix, if somebody's feeling sad and we suddenly try and make them happy by
mm,
making a face or telling a joke,
yeah.
it's giving the added message that, that was a bad feeling actually, and you're better off.
Exactly. And it's the same as if somebody cries and we immediately go to make you better, to
Mm,
make it go. But
mm,
maybe they need to cry. Maybe they
yeah,
need the tears need to happen. And as you said there, Siobhan, sometimes it can be about saying to the child, I know you're sad. Can I sit with you in the sadness? Can we sit together in the sadness for a little while?
yeah.
And it's acknowledging it, and it's actually giving them permission,
Yeah, I think
you
that's
know.
powerful, and that's powerful for parents to do, powerful as well
Yeah,
for teachers to do,
absolutely.
powerful for even teachers to allow students, peers to do, and to, allow the kind of the group setting like that. But I'm reading a wonderful book at the moment, Dr. Edith Eggers'
Oh yeah.
The Gift. So she's an Auschwitz survivor.
Survivor.
And actually, the chapter I was just reading last night, she was talking about feelings, and she's a wonderful expression that goes, you have to feel it to heal it.
Mm.
And I just thought that was so, so powerful. It made me think about what young people and children are going through at the moment.
And like, absolutely, that's so, so true, Siobhan. And, you know, just to sum up, like, we started today talking about children at this time, and I told the story about the little kid talking about the COVID spreader. And I actually had heard another story about my neighbour's kid in school who had been out for 4 days. And when they came back, the other kids didn't want to sit near them. And I think there's just that fear there. And look, this is all for another episode of this, because I suppose there's so many mixed messages that the kids are getting. But at this point, like, with the whole fear, with the emotions, I really want to acknowledge the great job that parents are doing,
Mm, mm.
homeschooling, spending so much more time with kids. And I want to acknowledge what teachers have done in this time. It's been really, really hard. And I just really want to finish by saying that.
And I think part of what you're saying there, Eileen, is like for teachers and parents not to feel that we failed in any way because children
Not
feel
at
bad.
all.
It's okay for children to feel bad. It's okay.
Yeah,
Every feeling is okay. And like you had said, to feel it. And then the only thing that we can do in addition to sitting with them through it, I suppose, is to give them some avenues for expressing how they're feeling. But we can leave that for another.
absolutely. Because there's loads of material and all that, Siobhan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eileen, great to talk. You're such a wealth of wisdom on all of these topics. But
Oh,
we'll check
well,
in again maybe in the next week or so.
absolutely. I think that would be a great idea, Siobhan. Take care. Bye bye.
Stay safe and stay home.
Yeah.